understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, December 9th, 2017. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And I think I'm saying this for the last time, in 2017, there were 6 new episodes this week.
Yes, including...
I'm not misstating that, am I?
No, you're right. And that includes 5 mid-season finales.
It was a dramatic, cliffhangery, can you believe that character just appeared kind of weird.
Yeah.
On the TV.
Like your head's turning so much you got whiplash. Yeah, it was busy. It was busy. And
some kind of interesting parallels too, I thought. There were a couple of shows that I felt sort of, okay, we're going down similar paths with these. That's cool. Let's see where they go. So,
yeah. One quick thing up front. I did say, also, if for anyone who's interested, please do send us emails. Our email is dctv@wickedtheory.com. I did not see anything this week.
And you can do that too on Twitter, via email, but especially since we're entering a little bit of a TV drought. So ask us hypotheticals that you'd like us to tackle or these kinds of things that we can tease out into a larger conversation. If you would like more, I don't want to say speculative DC TV content, we can tackle that.
Yeah, just if you can avoid the FMKs, I'd appreciate that. Different podcast experience. Won't talk about that. I just don't know if that's right for this show.
Easy, Oliver Queen, done.
But yeah. Also, one other quick shout I did want to say. We do show up on other podcasts from time to time, and I recently guest starred on the Super Live Adventure podcast with John Zaluga and Chris Sorrentino, episode 133. Which is titled "Sorry, Lady." They're 2 friends of mine from Staten Island who are one's an artist and a musician. The other's a comedy writer from Practical Jokers. And I just we hung out in Chris's kitchen and just chatted for a couple hours and had the time of our lives. But we do discuss the DC TV report and Captain Marvel.
And I know you have thoughts on Captain Marvel.
Yes, I do. I finally got someone else to watch that with me. They watched the first episode with me, and they loved it just as much as I do. Shameless plug, but I want to throw it out there. And if we have anyone who heard me on that show is listening now, welcome.
Hello. Yeah. Good to have you, friend.
Welcome. Please. Thank you. Sit down, relax, have a muffin. I mean, I didn't bake any, but if you have some, to enjoy. Cool. And anything else, Sarah, you want to chat about before we jump into the recaps?
Only that I'm an academic and my semester's winding down, and thank the merciful Lord. That's all. I'm grateful to be where I am in this lunar cycle that we are heading into the blessed winter break. So that's all. I'm in a good place. I have a lot of grading between now and freedom, but I'm going to get there. I can taste it like Andy Dufresne.
Yeah.
In the Shawshank Redemption. Like, I'm close. I'm digging, and I'm close. I'm digging through miles of shit. I'm going to get there. And my students are that's not their work I'm referring to, just like, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. So,
yeah,
no, that's what's going on with me.
It's almost a shame with all these shows taking off. You think, oh, now I'm not working, I have time to watch TV.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have in the back of my mind, you should not be enjoying this television program. You should be prepping or you should be grading. I'm going to have all this free time, and DC is just hieing off into the distance for the next couple of weeks. So,
yeah. We're gonna have to figure out how to fill those shows.
I have told you, Hallmark Christmas specials starring our DC TV favorites. We can do this.
Okay, all right, we'll see.
Or I guess to the listeners, if you have suggestions for what you'd like to hear us talk about in the universe of DC television,
yes, yeah,
find us on Twitter. Drop us an email.
Cool. All right. I think it's time for Lucifer.
I think it is too.
All right. So, you want to read it or should I?
Yeah, sure. Season 3, Episode 9, The Sinner Man. 2 murders of people Lucifer had granted favors to seemed to point to the Sinner Man. Tensions rose after Chloe asked Lieutenant Pierce for a personal day. Mazikeen came back to town and was upset to find Amenadiel and Dr. Linda had become awfully close. Last minute reveal, Lucifer was entered into the interrogation room to ask the Sinner Man his true desire, only to find the old sweater vest had stabbed his own eyes out with a pen.
Yeah, that was intense.
Okay. So the Sinner Man really kept an eye out for Lucifer. Okay, wait. So that was an eye-popping debut. I mean, he really knows how to sock it to Lucifer.
Oh,
S-O-C-K-E-T. Come on, I can. Thank you. Don't forget to tip your waiters. I'll be here all night. I'd like to apologize to everyone everywhere for that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? It's weird for the procedural part of the show to actually, take part of the overarching storyline.
Yeah, usually it's the kind of thing I kind of want to rush through to get to the Lucifer stuff or to the Linda stuff or to the Mazikeen stuff. But this actually really linked in, and I thought was kind of clever too, the ironic murders. I sort of enjoyed the runner for the mob, pulverized legs, salon to the stars, hung by her hair. There was some delicious irony in there too.
Yeah. And who knew that was a thing? You could hang yourself by your own hair.
I guess if it's long enough.
Yeah. Wow.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. That was weird. But we finally got to meet the Sinner Man.
So what do you think? Were you impressed? Were you overwhelmed? Were you underwhelmed?
I was a little underwhelmed.
Kind of same.
Yeah. It's just like, well, the actor does a serviceable job, but there's nothing, it's not a name, and it's, it just didn't really do much for me.
I think this episode had about too many storylines. I just felt like the Sinner Man was a little bit rushed. I didn't quite understand what his end goal. So he traps Lucifer in this abandoned building. I don't think he really meant it to be for the long term. Lucifer's freaking car is parked outside. So how hard is it going to be to find Lucifer? So how long is that supposed to last? What is his end game? The toying with Lucifer could have been at least spaced out over the hour a little bit better, but we had a lot of other people to check in with, and I enjoyed all of it. But for this to be the big reveal of the Sinner Man in the flesh, it just didn't quite get there for me. It didn't connect with me. Now, that actor, Kevin Carroll, the funny thing is he was in The Leftovers and he premiered in season 2, and he was so menacing and scary in The Leftovers as just the guy next door. And as the Sinner Man, I don't get even a fraction of that menace that I got as, hey, I'm your new neighbor in The Leftovers. So it's just kind of funny to me that he's playing this enormous, frightening dude in Lucifer, and I just don't feel quite the same.
Yeah, I
shivers from him.
I also think it was a poor introduction for him because, like, the first time we see him, it's on this grainy black and white TV from a distance, and it's like, oh, it's a guy. Oh, it's just a guy. Oh, okay. And it was
just a dude.
Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of like, oh, okay, all right. I don't know. I was expecting something more. I was expecting to be like, oh no,
yeah. And it just, the end was shocking. I mean, it was, that was quite an image.
Yeah.
of him without eyes. But it just feels like, he got caught and then he did this to himself to avoid Lucifer's powers. But does that put him operating in a position of strength? It just was a strange way to give the introduction to this all powerful dude.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where like they want you to get a sense that Lucifer can't read him, so that's kind of like he can't. There's no way you can predict what he's going to do. I will say visually, that moment where he walks in and the eyes are poked out.
Oh,
that is the most Vertigo Comics moment of the series so far. Just that visual of him walking out, and you just see a guy with just eyes with blood pouring out of his eyes. That looks like,
well, especially because they did telegraph that he had the pen, and I thought, he's going to, pick his way free. He's going to pick the locks. He's going to escape. It didn't occur to the self-harm thing didn't occur to me. I guess I wasn't thinking like a comic book reader.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just that, visual, that sounds like something you'd read in a Neil Gaiman or a Garth Ennis books, or just.
Yeah. I just never expect ocular trauma. I just in my life try to avoid that. So.
Yeah. And you also, this whole, I don't know, this episode overall didn't really work for me. The whole Chloe and Lieutenant Pierce, like, okay, I understand we're trying to get them together, but like,
what does Chloe see in him? I'm genuinely asking. You are in a room every day with Tom Ellis as Lucifer, and your eye is going to stray to Smallville? No. That doesn't happen.
Well, he in essence is the complete inverse of Lucifer.
Yeah, that's true. And I recap this episode for EW.com as I do every time we have a new Lucifer episode. And one of the commenters, because I made a similar comment in my recap, one of the commenters said, maybe Chloe doesn't like Lucifer's constant hitting on of her. And that makes sense. Maybe she didn't want the very out there Lucifer, and she likes the more reserved, I guess, extremely hard to get Lieutenant Pierce. But just all of a sudden ogling him from across the room as he's like moving a table. I don't know. It just
maybe it's his forearms. Maybe it's just he's got that burly physique now.
No. Speaking for the ladies in the audience, for the viewers in the audience who like looking at a man's physique, those are not great. They're fine. They're serviceable. I mean, like, Tom Welling, keep doing what you're doing, but there are better forearms and there are better biceps on TV. There are better tattoos on TV. The whole 9 yards. For Chloe to be like, that is the man I'm drooling over. I just don't get it. Yeah. It came kind of fast out of nowhere. He's never given her any reason. I guess the mystery, the like I said, the hard to get of it, I guess, could be attractive, but it just feels a little forced at this point.
Yeah.
And what I want to know is Pierce oblivious to his effect on her, or does he know and is he playing dumb?
I think he knows. I think he's just kind of like working around it. I think his focus is elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially like the way he's treated Dan. I think he knows exactly what's going on in that office, and just ignoring everything he's not interested in.
If only we could all do that in our lives. Sir, you are boring. We're done here.
Yeah, and the whole Mazagine comes home and gets weirded out by Amenadiel and Dr. Linda. And okay, I get that she'd be weirded out that an angel was, fraternizing with a human. That kind of thing, just kind of like, and this isn't like Lucifer just screws everybody. This is more like, this is turning into something real.
Yeah, I feel like Amenadiel is a step away from taking a wife. Like, he's just the kind of guy who doesn't jump into that. Yeah. I mean, he jumped into it with Maze, but we just haven't seen him hopping from person to person in the show.
This is something like I'm really confused because like I don't ever remember Amenadiel and Maze like having that kind of relationship.
I think they had sex, right? That's season 1. It feels like ages ago, but it wasn't like Lucifer and Linda. their relationship is very clear to me. Like I remember that really well, but I agree the Amenadiel and May's thing, there was some bad blood when they ended things, but it isn't as clear in my memory why that ended and how and things like that. I actually, believe it or not, I actually liked this part probably the best of everything that happened in this episode, because it was such a great character growth moment for Maze, because she actually went, she was angry, she was suspicious, and then she was angry, and she was angry with Lucifer, and then for her to, in the end, come into Dr. Linda's office, sit down and say, I don't like the two of you together. Instead of damaging something or punching something, I'm going to talk to you about it. I feel left out. And so I loved that, personal growth for Maze. She's choosing talk therapy over violence. And I really liked that. So that was very cool to me to see that transition. And also, Lucifer, I loved the conversation they had between the locked door when he was locked up, thanks to the Centerman for whatever reason. When he says to her, we don't often see Lucifer being I shouldn't say often, but sincere Lucifer, good friend Lucifer is so cool to watch. And so for him to say, ask yourself what you really want. And he wasn't doing the whammy. He couldn't see her. He was just genuinely saying, what is it that bothers you? And what would you do about that? And what I thought was also really cool was that then we see Chloe do that with Pierce when they're on the stakeout. Ask yourself, what do you really want to do? So you make sure you don't do something you regret. So I loved this parallel of Lucifer and Chloe both approaching problems in somebody else's life with the same toolkit, because it shows you how connected they've become. I don't know. I just those were the Lindena deal. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Amenda. I don't know, but that storyline I thought teased out some cool Maze stuff, and it led to that parallel with Lucifer and Chloe using the same kind of problem solving techniques for their friends. So. I don't know. I liked it. I don't know how I feel about Amenadiel and Linda. I think anybody who thinks Dr. Linda is cool and beautiful and awesome and worth hanging out with, I'm a fan of, because I feel that way about Dr. Linda. But Amenadiel always just feels so above earthly things that this feels strange to me.
Yeah, I think the relationship makes sense. To me, it feels like we needed to have someone react to this, and Maze I thought was an odd choice.
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of thing that would get Lucifer very upset if he found out that Amenadiel was stooping Dr. Linda.
That's true, because he and Dr. Linda are friends, and he's plowed that field, and he and Amenadiel are not in the best place right now. So yeah, but when Maze told him, I guess he has other stuff going on. He was in an old locker in an abandoned building, so
So yeah, all right. Any news for Lucifer?
Let's see. Just a little bit of Lucifer news. Buddy TV reports an interview with Tricia Helfer, who plays Charlotte Richards, who says that this version of Charlotte might actually be a better fit for Dan than she was when she was Mama, or than she was when she was old Charlotte. That Dan is so nice that Charlotte is now coming around maybe to being able to appreciate nice. So I don't know if that indicates continued relationship or particularly romantic relationship with him, but that those two might be able to vibrate kind of on the same wavelength now. And she also pointed out that we have not seen Linda react to Charlotte yet, because if you remember, the last time Dr. Linda saw Charlotte, Dr. Linda got a little crispy. So Tricia Helfer says that might be a visceral reaction from Linda when she sees that Charlotte is back in Lucifer's world and back in, the police and everything. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I always like hearing from Tricia Helfer, who, by the way, has the best reaction of the episode, I thought, as she's standing in the background in the police precinct trying to figure out how to be a prosecutor. And she takes a sip of that crappy police station coffee, and her face is a picture of horror. So Tricia Helfer, hilarious, like background detail acting, beautiful. And Hogwarts in the sky, where angels are sorted into houses based on their powers. Make it happen, Hollywood.
Cool. All right. Now moving on to the meat and potatoes. Ready to jump into Supergirl?
Do you just want all the mid-season finales? Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So, mid-season 3 finale. Rain. Mon-El and Imra tried being considerate for Kara's feelings about their marriage, and things got pretty awkward. The DEO discovered an ancient Kryptonian symbol burned into a field, and Kara learned it may be a marker for the apocalypse. James and Lena got awfully close while looking into Morgan Edge. Samantha slowly transformed into Rain and began unleashing her wrath upon the city. Last minute reveal, Ruby woke up Christmas morning and found Rain in her living room.
Reindeer games, am I right? I'm so sorry that I have nothing but puns this week.
Oh.
I will show myself out. So here's what I loved about this. Well, I liked a lot of things about this episode, but did she find Rain in her living room on Christmas morning? Or was it Samantha? That was such a great horror movie vibe, wasn't it? That you've got this very still woman looking out the window. You know, it looks like something's off, but when she turns around, is she Rain or is she beloved mother? I don't know. It was well done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was bad. It was bad. And Supergirl got her ass beat this episode.
Oh my God, that was hard to watch. But that was a great fight scene. I thought that was one of Supergirl's better fight scenes. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially because you don't see Kara getting the crap beat out of her very often.
Well, you know, she's tough. Who can actually take her on?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like this is the first time since like season 1, I think, where she's had like a true beatdown from another Kryptonian. It's kind of, you know, she's on the crash cart. Like they're really struggling to like keep her around. So I mean,
can we take a second to this? I mean, the show is called Supergirl. They're not going to switch it over to Guardian. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Mid-season premiere. Welcome to Guardian and Friends. Nope. The little kid in the crowd when Supergirl is just laying in the rubble of the concrete, the little kid says, "Is she dead?" Shut up, child. Be more tactful. Damn.
Yeah. That's bad parenting right there.
Keep your child from asking of, you know, beloved superheroes in your city, "Is she dead?" and poke her with your toe. Don't do that. That's not nice.
No. Oh, yeah.
But I thought the Christmas party fight was so much fun. It was well filmed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was kind of choppy and a little disconcerting and confusing, but in a way that kind of expresses what it would be like in that fight. But the set to was it Rocking Around the Christmas Tree? It was set to really funny.
Yeah. And you know, the CW shows, I saw a lot of parties.
Yeah.
Happening. You know, it felt like it was, you know, we had 3 Christmas parties and a wedding.
I love that movie.
Yes. But you know, it's what's funny. It's the color coding on my notes. It feels like, you know, the first act is like all this one color, and then that color never gets used again for the rest of the episode because it's all this stuff that happened at that Christmas party. You know, with all these incredible tidbits of Wynn and John arguing over Hall and Oates, and then Mern discovering Christmas ornaments and just falling in love with the season because it's his first ever Christmas.
And he had hot chocolate for the first time.
Oh, that's right. This is much better brown water, and he's right.
That adding Carl Lumbly has been such a great move for this show.
Yeah. They've really got to bring that out more. Like,
and actually, when bringing up this scene, it does beg the question, Mr. Ed, have you seen the Star Wars Christmas special that they referenced?
I have seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole thing through. I have never had access to the whole thing through.
In the early aughts, when Kazam was the torrent like download site of choice, we got it. Not even ironically is it worth watching that thing from start to end. Like, not even the biggest Star Wars fans. No. It's rough. It's rough. I just was curious if you had survived the whole thing like I had.
Yeah. Basically, all I've seen is what they've covered in documentaries, like The People versus George Lucas.
Well, that's Exhibit A. That was terrible.
Life Day. But yeah, that Christmas party was fun. Yeah, and we got a whole crop circles thing in the shape of Kryptonian symbols.
And it continues the trend of kind of dipping into the Krypton history and culture and religion, and I mean, it really does. It's very on theme with what the show has been doing. As a comic guy, are you hearing things that sound familiar? Are these things that ring a bell with you? Oh yeah, I remember reading that. And
yeah, I mean, Rao has always been, that's Krypton's god. So they've delved into a little bit with religion. The whole thing with Chad Lowe and the character of Thomas Colville, that's something that feels fresh, that feels new. Like, see humans taking up Kryptonian religion, and misconstruing it. And to me, there's something interesting there, the way they're exploring that. No. I mean, nothing here rings false to me. I think this is an interesting take on it. The idea that Krypton doesn't really have a book of Revelations.
Or if they did, they burned it as superstition once modern Krypton began.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to see, that's where this is coming from. That Rain is actually the Kryptonian Antichrist.
Yeah. Although it looked like she was really going after the bad people, which I thought was kind of interesting. Rain's motives. So she wants to punish maybe I just finished The Punisher last week, so maybe I'm thinking about punishing still. But, she wants to punish the bad people. She went after the gang members. She went after Morgan Edge, who has a lead-lined safe room, which is smart, actually. And then she also wants to destroy the world. Like, on the one hand, okay, you're going after the villains because you think Supergirl is too weak to actually kill them or too moral to kill them. But also you want to wipe everybody out. So, like, why bother being picky if you're going to just kill whoever you want? So kind of like with when we talked about the Cinderman on Lucifer, it's just the motives were a little muddy to me. So you're doing this, but you want to do that, but you look really cool doing it, so I guess we'll allow it.
Yeah, I think this is...
That said, I think she's a great foil for Supergirl. I enjoyed it. I don't want you to think that I'm complaining about it. That was the one little place that I was like, she's punishing, but then she's...
I think this is weird because I think this is something that was meant for Krypton that's being unleashed upon Earth. So I think that's also interesting. I did also like the way they kind of previewed what was going to happen, where it was like, okay, it's the marker, then the wrath, then the rain. And and she basically unleashed everything on Supergirl, and I'm interested to see if like she really does take charge of the city, or try to take charge of the Earth. And the other thing that's showing like this, and I know this is weird, but like this feels like a good moment for Cal to show up.
It doesn't it
the fact that we've established that Clark Kent exists and there is a Superman on this Earth.
So why wouldn't he be racing to National City with this world killer from his home planet?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like we've got to establish that like something else is going on with him. I'm sorry. I just had a flood of different ideas popping into my head.
Of what Superman would be doing instead.
Well, no, not only that, but just kind of like, I don't know, for some reason I was thinking like
Lois wanted to go to Bermuda, so we're on the beach.
I was also thinking of the Supergirl storyline, of what Supergirl was doing in the comics when after Superman died. Which is a very different storyline. Also a different Supergirl. It wasn't really Supergirl. It was some kind of android.
What?
And it was like an android mixed with an angel. It's Peter David. It's weird. So I would be very surprised if he does not show up when we come back in January somewhere.
Speaking of Superman, I had two thoughts when Rain drops Kara off the roof and she dramatically falls. One thought was that would have been much more effective for me if she hadn't done the exact same thing in the crossover finale the week before. She had a really dramatic hair floating in the breeze as she plummets to the earth fall where she was caught by Nate in the crossover. And then here she just, hits the concrete. But they use the same imagery twice in a row, week to week. And that just diluted the power of that second version, I thought. Did you pick up on that as well?
Yeah, I think it's weird because that was the Legends production team that filmed that. So maybe it was just a lack of communication, but you'd think that they would talk to each other about that and just kind of like.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be at least review the script to make sure you're not picking up similar things. But the second thing I thought was that kind of a Death of Superman type vibe to it?
I mean, because like the other thing with Death of Superman is because Superman and Doomsday kind of destroy each other. So you would have had, if it was going to reflect Death of Superman, it would have Rain hitting the concrete just as hard, and then just kind of like being evenly matched. So it wasn't quite that, but it was stark to see this all powerful hero all of a sudden just chucked like a rag doll.
Yeah. It was still, don't get me wrong, it was still hard to watch, and I thought effective. It was a shame that they had just done it last week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I definitely get that. So I mean, we got the setup for the next half of the season. It's one of those things like, it's getting so good. Why do we have to go away for 5 weeks?
Yeah, same. So let's talk about a couple of couples.
Okay.
James and Lena.
Yeah, it was okay.
Couple name? Meh. Meh.
Yeah, I think that covers it for those two.
Yeah, although I did want to know when they're attacked in the alley by the ray gun guy, which was just like the D plot that nobody needed. Where did James's guardian shield come from? Where was he keeping that? This was the most Highlander moment I've had in years. Like, where did the sword come from? Where do those immortals hide their swords? Where did James whip out that guardian shield from?
I think maybe Wynn has it something where it's like implanted into his arm that he just kind of like whips it out the way like people do switchblades, where it's just kind of like.
I actually put it on slow motion to see if we could see it like opening, unfurling, and I didn't see it, but I guess I'll assume it's a gauntlet that he can whatever. James.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like I'd almost thought they'd abandoned that storyline. Like he's not the Guardian anymore because he hasn't shown up at all this season.
Yeah, I think because the showrunners heard the audience loud and clear, and their vote was, "Oh, come on," with Guardian, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think this is James Olsen is another character that like we don't know what to do with. And it's almost like, I mean, it's kind of weird because the storylines outside, with Kara and the DO and and now Mon-El and everything is doing so well that like you don't need Catco anymore. Or at least nothing going on at Catco is interesting. You haven't seen Snapper Carr at all. She.
Well, I think he's on some kind of walkabout sabbatical.
Oh, that's
they
right.
said at the beginning of the season. But I mean, even the fact that we kind of forgot that. But it kind of begs the question: how is Kara holding that job, given how much time she's spending in the DEO and being Supergirl? It sort of beggars disbelief beyond what a superhero show should be asking us to do, to think that she is keeping this job at Catco as well. Once you lose Callista Flockhart, I just the Catco spark is really gone for me. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But okay, so quickly before we move on, because I do need to chastise them for this. If Mon-El and Imra could quit trying to make her feel better by talking to her and making her listen to how awesome she is and they are, and also they know that she's around. Why are they like fight cuddling? Don't do that. Go to your bunk for that. You know she's out there. You're in a big room with windows. Quit touching each other if you're so concerned about her feelings. God.
That was funny. That was funny.
Are you okay? We're worried you're sad. We've been talking a lot, just the two of us. We kiss and then we talk about you. Are you okay? Because we kiss and then we talk, and we just want to make sure we kiss. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, that must make her feel so much better to know that they're thinking.
I know, the poor thing.
Just walk away. Please leave. And
stop.
Imra, I'm sure
you are not helping.
I'm sure you're a wonderful person, but I can't. I just can't. Please leave.
Well, and I feel bad because I'm sure she has cool stories in the comics, but right now she's just a breathing obstacle.
Yeah.
You know, she's the unnecessary third leg of this love triangle.
No. This is no comment on Saturn Girl. Like we haven't like no. No. This isn't even like the tip of the iceberg. This is like, okay, we're seeing the iceberg from 12 miles out. Like this is not anywhere close to what's in the comics. You know, we still have to dig into that more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's okay for me to kind of side eye her because she's not the Saturn Girl that comic fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. What
Cool.
you know, she's had 12 seconds on screen, so you know, I don't really think you can fault them from that yet. But yeah, otherwise, you had a really cool fight scene in this.
Yeah, really strong. I thought it was strong. I really like Rain as the villain. I enjoy the way. I enjoy the Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans out there. I like the Ben is Glory is Ben of it all. That Sam doesn't seem to know about Rain. You know, she wakes up and she's lost time and she's not sure what's going on. And so it would be kind of cool if they play that up a little bit more, that she doesn't know about this destruction that she's causing, or maybe she's Rain all the time when we come back. I don't know. Either way, cool foe for Supergirl. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Cool. There's no news for Supergirl, right?
Nope. I think everybody wants to, get out of town for winter break.
All right. So moving on to The Flash.
All right. Mid-season 4 finale, Don't Run. Barry was captured and held prisoner by the Thinker. Amunet kidnapped Caitlin and made her perform surgery on a telepathic meta named Dominic. Cisco's equipment was stretched to its limit, and Iris was forced to make a hard choice about where to focus the team's rescue efforts. Last-minute reveal, in an enormous twist, the Thinker injected his brainwaves into Dominic, effectively taking over his body, then left his corpse in the West Allen loft and framed Barry for the murder.
Oof.
It's like he's smart or something.
Oof. Yeah. That was another really great twist, really great way to leave off, mid-season. And it almost made up for the fact that the Barry Thinker storyline was boring as sin.
Well, and actually, it kind of almost justifies Barry acting like an idiot and breaking into his house and ending up with a restraining order. It's so beautifully played into the Thinker's long-term plan, which is framing Barry. So that it doesn't retroactively make me enjoy that episode where Barry's an idiot any better. But I do appreciate the thought that the Thinker put into that. Well done. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Let's jump into the real story here, which was Caitlin finally, showing that she doesn't need Killer Frost to be cool and badass.
Yeah. On the one hand, it was a little obvious that, you guys would rather be with Killer Frost and not with me. But I like that they actually give Caitlin something to do. I think too often she's just sort of tech support, which is a terrible thing to say about somebody with 8 PhDs or whatever she has. But yeah, no, I like that they let her shine and they let her develop that side of her power as well. And they did get me with that twist, because when Dominic is there, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is Caitlin's new love interest, Dominic. It's okay, cool, got it. Oh wait, no, I guess not. So they got me good.
Yeah, no, brainstorm. This is a very, very different version of brainstorm than what I was talking about in the comics like a couple weeks ago. But yeah, and I thought Amunet was incredible in this.
Oh, she's always fun. Yeah. Yeah, she was great. I like the campy over the top vibe, but she's scary also. I mean, she's fun, but she has real menace, and I think it's kind of hard to do that sometimes. Either they're fun or they're just sort of dour and scary, and she really strikes a good balance. Go. Okay. So one of the best things I thought about Amunet in this episode was she gave a really great pep talk to Caitlin. Like, Caitlin needed to hear, you can do this, you're smart and you can get it together. And to get that from the villain was kind of cool, but it was what Caitlin needed to hear, which I really liked. So that their dynamic is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I hope that's not the last time we see her.
Same. Yeah. A lot of the villains I've said that about this year. Oh, good grief. What was her name? The lucky one, the charmed luck. Jinx. What's her name?
Man, sorry.
I should know this, but she's one that I would love to see again. They've had a couple like that this season that I thought were just a blast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I did think it was sorry to nitpick, but Caitlin sad sitting at Jitters drinking the Killer Frost drink that is named after her. Those were not the same drinks. Come on, Flash. We can see. Like, one is a frosty cold, lots of whipped cream, and the other is in a coffee mug. It's clearly a hot drink. We've ordered coffee. We know the difference. Come on.
Yeah. That was weird. It's like, why? I don't know why they did that. That had to be just the kind of thing where, like, she had a hot cup of coffee, and we made up the flyer. Oh, oops. There had to be something there.
Daniel Panabaker's like, I don't act with cold drinks. Mm-hmm. I act with hot drinks. Get it together. Get me a hot drink. We already have the flyer.
I'm sorry. Hazard was the meta you were thinking of before.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, I would love to see her back. They just have had just great personalities, I thought.
Yeah.
Real fast, I have to say that I cordially invite Iris to drink a nice warm glass of Shut the Hell Up. Because when she and Barry are opening the gifts and she gets really snarky about Felicity and Oliver interrupting her wedding. Ugh. So you probably don't follow quite as much shippy Twitter as I do, I'm guessing. But there has been a vast, bitter argument that has erupted since last week's crossover between different shipping factions that Felicity and Oliver were horrible monsters for interrupting that wedding, and Iris and Barry spent the whole of the crossover convincing the two of them that they should be married, so they were happy to have them join. I'm of the opinion that if your original wedding was ruined by Nazis and you're getting just like last minute hitched in a park by a guy you just speed ran over from his town to your town, that if your best friends want to hop in, great. But not everybody feels that way. So for Iris to be like, oh, this wasn't on our registry, and I guess also not on our registry was not interrupting our wedding. Shut it, Iris. Felicity is your friend. Don't be a hag. Stop it. So that I mean, like, truly, genuinely, I struggle with Iris as a character, with her motivation and with her purpose on the team and with her like team Flash leader now, whatever. And so to throw this in as this like random snarking on this woman who I thought they were friends, it was too much for me. It really made me hard to warm up to Iris. So shut it. Yeah. If you feel differently, go ahead and tell me, because
Yeah. I mean, you sound like me the first time I heard her say, "We are the Flash." So yeah,
I genuinely want to like the characters on these shows, so don't make them petty bitches.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least Ralph had good jokes this week.
And his suit continues to be terrible.
Oh my god.
I've decided what it is. He looks like a maggot. It's like the color of worms moving through the earth, never seeing the sun. It's so bad.
Like, it's like, I don't understand why he wears it. Like, he should
He should be like, no, I'm not doing this.
He should refuse to wear that. I mean, oh my God. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, also, those stretched scenes that we're adding in that really serve no purpose. You could skip those. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we did have some good twists in this episode. I thought the scene where Harrison and Joe just show up at DeVoe's house looking for Barry, and he doesn't even try to pretend. He just immediately like, yeah, I know you know who I am.
Yeah.
There's not a goddamn thing you guys can do about it.
And anytime Joe launches into protective dad mode, I'm pretty much a puddle. So yeah, Joe's like, "Bring me back my son. He's married to my daughter." Okay, cool. But no, I love that Joe vibe when he does that, and Harrison just being like, "No, I gotta go now. Let's have this conversation." One thing I thought was kind of cool, I saw this pointed out. Ooh, I wish I remember what article, but I read it someplace on the wild world of the internet. That DeVoe's body was found with a knife in his chest, just like Nora Allen. So if you are a prosecutor who wants to make a case against Barry, childhood trauma led him to obsess over this guy and recreate a murder, that mimics Nora's murder. That was clever. I don't know if that was intentional, but I choose to read it that way. I thought it's like, again, like a smart person thought that up. So
yeah. That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. So is this how we get Wally back with Barry sitting in jail waiting for trial?
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, there's also a very popular there's a very famous storyline in the mid 80s called The Trial of the Flash, which I have not read, but I would be interested to see if this next half season has a lot of parallels to that storyline.
So that could be possible good reading material during the hiatus if you were wanting to look for parallels. Or...
Yeah, check that out. There's got to be a trade somewhere. DC always puts that out. Cool. All right. Yeah. And you're right. Yeah, I guess we gotta bring Wally back somehow. For some reason.
He's been in Blue Valley long enough. Which valley?
Yeah.
Is it Blue Valley?
Blue Valley. Yes, it's Blue Valley. Yeah, so many characters in the shows. We gotta make sure everyone has something to do.
Some shows balance them better than others, I think, in the DC verse.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anything? No big news for the Flash. Anything else?
No, that's really it for me for the Flash.
All right. Moving on to DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Mid-season 3 finale. Beebo, the God of War. A young Dr. Martin Stein was pulled from 1992 to 1000 AD, where the Vikings began treating a Beebo doll he bought for Lily as a god. Jax struggled over whether or not he should warn young Stein about his demise, and Citizen Cold tried getting Mick to quit drinking by making all the beer on the Wave Rider taste awful. Last minute reveal, John Constantine snuck on board and asked for help saving a young girl possessed by a demon who knows Sara.
Okay, Brandon Routh makes Viking wear look good. Like, not many people can make gross braids work, but Brandon Routh did. That's all.
Wow. I don't even remember what he looked like in this episode. I gotta get a second shot at it. Wow.
Just lots of furs and then braids.
Okay.
So were you happy to see the return of Agent Sharp this week?
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's pretty evident now that she's that better love interest that Katie Lotz has been talking about.
And really, we mentioned that in the news section of the show, several weeks ago on the pod, that Sarah was going to get a more permanent love interest. And then we saw in the crossover a little bit of movement in that direction where, she kind of was like, yeah, I deserve something real too. So they have laid the groundwork for it, I think. But yeah, when Sharp says, I'm not really the husband kind, and Sara does the whoop triple take. All right, we got it. But no, I really like that character. I like the all business, but sometimes she, goes with the heart rather than the head to do things. And I'm enjoying this addition to the cast this season.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we got young Steinbeck.
What a great Victor Garber that guy does.
Yeah. See, it's weird. Like his first appearance, he was like, "Oh, I'm a young guy in the '70s," and it seems like he's sort of gone into this more kind of like elderly statesman kind of feel for it, in the '80s and early '90s. That I'm not quite sure fits, but it's fun. It works. I mean, with what. I mean, Wentworth Miller was also back this week, so that looked kind of really subtle and understated compared to that,
which is not something you often say about that. I thought all of the legends were kind of a-holes about Citizen Cold trying to get them to do puppet therapy. They were real jerks. He was just trying to help. Don't punch the puppet. That's not cool.
See, like Mick. I love what they're doing with Mick this season. Me too. Just like, we're not even gonna try to be subtle. We're not gonna try to do anything sentimental. It's more just like, whatever's funny, he's gonna find a way to pull out the funny. And the second he pulls out I hate puppets. And the fact that he's the one that destroys Beebo and is so happy, the look of just pure joy at being able to destroy that little toy is that was incredible.
And that was a really visceral destruction. Like watching that toy burn was
Yeah. Like that was it was violent and beautiful.
So am I being overly sensitive about the cultural insensitivity of the Vikings worshiping a toy? It made them all look a little dumb. I'm just being too serious, aren't I?
Yeah, this is just fun. This is
all right. Truly, it is the Legends. It is just fun. But I just felt a little bit like, be smarter, Vikings. Be tougher.
I mean, you also have to, it's the age old. I forget who said it, but all science, as we know, or science without knowledge is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah. Significantly advanced scientific systems are indistinguishable from magic. Something like that. Yeah, true.
So they see a little blue creature and it talks, and obviously this has something to do with the Great Beyond. This is
all right,
most assuredly a higher power, and it's telling us that it's hungry or thirsty. So
okay, let me just grab my feminist Killjoy mug and take a sip. Literally on my desk right now.
Yeah.
I did think of all the episodes we watched this week. This one had the most fun take on Christmas. Because the Legends kept changing things and it kept changing how we understand Christmas. Happy Beebo Day. It's an Odin Day miracle. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Although I feel like it's weird that Damien Dark just keeps showing up, and
you say weird, I say kind of irksome.
Yeah, that he keeps showing up and he's foiled so easily. And just gives up and goes away. Just kind of just like that. Oh, you mangy kids. Like,
I'll get you someday.
Yeah, he's turning into a Scooby-Doo villain. And he even had the costume to go with it this week. But yeah, and
yeah, he really did, like the wig and the whoo.
Yeah, the Odin costume. I mean, that is the one thing I noticed when I'm live tweeting this show is every time this season, the moment he shows up, immediately Twitter just goes like, "Oh, come on! Why is he here?" And this is no knock against Neil McDonough.
That's exactly the struggle I have with it. He's such a great actor, but what is this, the third season and the second show he's been the villain on? It's just, I mean, why bring him back this season?
Yeah, they didn't want to pay for somebody else. That's my guess.
Or you didn't want to develop somebody else, didn't want to have to. Well, I mean, look what they did. They brought Vandal Savage on as a new villain, and he was not great. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but but I mean this, but yeah, but this, the rest of this episode was so kooky and crazy. You know, who could care about Damien Dark? We got Beebo. We got Beebo, and we got Mick hating puppets.
Yeah. And they kind of fun storytelling when they walked through the different invasion options. Okay, well, if Sara goes in here and she's alone, this is going to happen. But what if we do this? It was a little different approach to where they usually do things. So, fun episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Kind of like a Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes moment.
I don't acknowledge that.
You remember that?
Oh,
when he planned out all the moves and say, "Oh, this gonna happen, this is gonna happen," and then he does it, and you're like, "Oh wow, did he show the same scene twice, just at different speeds?"
To my shame, the thing that I most associate that with now is Marvel's Humans, because they had a character who did that in the Baton Death March that was that show's first season. So.
First season?
Yeah, only season. Blessedly only season, I assume. Yikes.
First season. Well, I mean, I haven't made a decision yet. Although I think they're now telling us it was a miniseries event. But that's a
bless their hearts. Sure, Jan. Yeah. It was a miniseries event.
This is the DC TV report, so we're not
gonna slag on Marvel.
Yeah, we're not gonna slag on Marvel because you know what, Legion makes up for all of it.
Yeah, preach. So do we want to talk about the surprising guest appearance at the end and your thoughts on that?
About damn time. Yeah, and they're kind of they've been delving a little bit more into the mystical. You had the Halloween episode, you had Odin show up sort of this week. So you know, if it you know, I always thought this show was much more like scientific, more like goofy sci-fi villains, and for like, you know, Constantine is straight up horror character.
Well, you know, as I was looking for news this week, one of the stories, which was, I thought, really similar to stuff that we've talked about in the past, but this show is delving more into magic this season. That they really are, with Damien Dark and other storylines that they've had, that Constantine just makes good sense because they just are pivoting a little bit, as you say, away from that tech science side and letting magic in a little bit. And so Constantine is going to be a good fit with that new feel, basically. Yeah. By the way, did you notice that the first thing we hear with Constantine is that lighter, the flick of the lighter?
Yeah.
As he's lighting the cigarette, which I thought, is that the show's way of saying this is not NBC's Constantine?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, although they didn't let him smoke. He held it, but he didn't actually hold it to his lips.
Yeah, he didn't puff it. But you know what? Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because especially if you ever read a comic of John Constantine, it's just cigarette smoke everywhere. Like, it's just, you know, like, you know, it's not like they have a smoke machine. It's just, it's all coming from his mouth. You know, and just like, to me, like, that's always like the perfect silhouette is, you know, him in the trench coat with the blonde hair and just lighting up, you know, with that orange burst at the end of the cigarette. So yeah, that made me very excited. I thought that was cool, and I'm ready to just jump right into it, and I hope he sticks around for a little while. And unfortunately, it's the show we're going to have the longest wait on because that's not back until February, where the rest of these CW shows are coming back in January. Yes, yeah, that's right, because they're making room for Black Lightning. So, all right, so it's going to be a little while. Oh, we are running quick on time, so which we gotta... is fine. Yeah, we are. Good grief. Yeah. Okay, so Gotham. Yeah. Okay. Mid-season 4 finale, A Dark Night, Queen Takes Night. Jim decided to let the war between Sophia and Oswald play out, and many twists and reveals followed, including Carmen Falcone's death, Zaz selling out Penguin, and Pig revealing his true allegiances. The tension between Bruce and Alfred finally reached a standstill. Tabitha kidnapped Grundy and literally tried to beat the butch out of him.
Last minute reveal, Oswald wallowed in his cell at Arkham Asylum until he was offered some help from Jerome.
Yeah.
So this is the episode that gave us all the storylines.
Yeah, it was everything. It was almost too much, but it worked. It was, yeah.
It did. Agreed.
Almost, but not quite. There's still a little bit more to beat out of there. So yeah, how bad do you feel for Tabitha? And also, like, how weird must it be for Butch to just wake up, have the crap beat out of him, tied to a chair? What the hell is going on?
And also, he's not bleeding blood. He's bleeding embalming fluid. He's tied to a chair. He's in a lot of pain. His skin is green. Poor Butch. Like, that's a bad way to wake up. Like, I've had hangovers, but like, poor Butch.
Yeah. I mean, this was it's funny. That's the one storyline for this episode that did feel kind of shoehorned.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm not really sure what more you could do.
Really, I was going to say, I mean, you didn't have a lot of time allotted to it, but I'm not sure what was missing from that storyline. Nothing that I can think of.
Yeah. No, it's, she tried and she thought she failed and walked away, and, we got the reveal. That's fine. That
I guess the moral of the story is, if you've beaten your ex-lover's almost brains in, stick around for an extra 10 minutes in case he's like, "What, Tabitha? What am I doing here?"
Yeah. You also had like 30 seconds of Ed screaming into the mirror, breaking stuff.
That guy's a champion screamer.
Yeah. And is he in love with Lee? I don't know.
It's not based on what they've shown us. I don't think. It seems like his motives were a little bit more diffuse than that. He wanted to get his smarts back. He wants to make money with Butch. I don't really see a Lee connection, but the way Gotham handles twisted, tragic, unrequited love, I find to be really interesting. So if that's the route they want to go, okay, cool. But I don't really see that.
Yeah. All right. Quick with Bruce and Alfred. So yeah, they hate each other. Bruce emancipated himself, and Alfred got fired. That was sad.
That hurt me. I didn't want to watch them fight physically, emotionally. None of it. No. Also, Bruce as a sexual creature is kind of uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
Like, Bruce with the ladies, like, no. I guess it's just, he's a baby to me. He's so young, so I didn't care for that. But I did like the shots of the dead inside Bruce. Like, he's got what he wanted, which is hedonism and no feelings, but clearly he's not a happy fella. So
yeah, I wonder if he would be in the same place now if his parents were still alive. If he'd just be this, this asshole hanging out with his friends, just doing nothing but running out, getting drunk.
Oh, gotcha. So he wouldn't be doing it because he killed Ra's al Ghul. He'd just be a pampered asshole if his parents were still there. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know. Do you think I think weren't the parents Wayne? It didn't look like they had a good relationship with their kid. It seems like they'd try to rein him in and keep him from.
Oh yeah, I think the parents are fine, but teenagers are assholes. I don't know.
Yeah, teenagers are terrible.
Yeah, there's like this one beat, it happens to everybody, and it's gonna happen, for like a 3-month period, sometime between the ages of 13 and 19.
If you're lucky, 3 months.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're unlucky, like 20 years.
But it happens.
But yeah, that was hard to watch because, poor Alfred, like, that's been Alfred's home, and that's Alfred's child, and poor Alfred.
Yeah.
It was rough. So all hail Queen Sophia and her long ass con.
I mean, this was a long game, especially when you realize
this was long.
Yeah,
long
when
game.
you realize that Zaz and Professor Pig were both in on this.
Yeah. Yes. I just my big concern, honestly, is that this is going to limit Zaz's time in the future in the show. Because I'm on record as saying he is my favorite. So I really hope they keep him around because he is so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a surprise to me. I did not expect that.
Oh yeah, no, there were two enormous twists in this, and it was Zaz turning on Penguin. Which it's the funny thing, like he just sees the opportunity and just seizes it. And oh man, that was hard to watch. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And the other one being Professor Pig revealing that he's, that Sophia hired him. And Michael Service gets one last moment to chew all the scenery in the room before getting his head blown off.
Were you sad to see him go?
Yeah, I was sad. Yeah, this is and I mean, this is also the weird thing as a comics fan, where like this is supposed to be a prequel to Batman, and two characters who we know Batman interacts with in the future were killed off in this episode, in Professor Pig and Carmine Falcone. And it's the kind of thing, like, this is where, for a TV show, that's just the natural course of events for those things to happen. But if you're going by canon, they should survive this somehow. It's interesting.
Yeah, although Falcone would have been, I would think, quite elderly by the time Batman actually was taking him on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mean to be ageist about that.
No. Well, it's also like
but I mean, it's the nature of the show, like you said.
Exactly. Well, this is the same character Tom Wilkinson played in Batman Begins. He played Carmine Falcone. So yeah, it's one of those characters that, like, people who don't read the comics don't really know, but it's the kind of thing, like, people who read Long Halloween go like, oh, okay, now that's what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, I thought you had some really, really cool twists in this episode. It went back and forth, and you know what? God damn it, Harvey was right. Jim got what he wanted.
Can't move on though without mentioning the sirens. Absolutely calm in the face of that huge shootout. None of them panicked. All of them just like, well, you're gonna die, so we're gonna get free. And it happens. They just, I love the blasé in the face of death. Sirens, more of that.
My left, your left. She means your left. Boom. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. Hate to rush this, but we like to try to keep it under 90 minutes.
I know. Okay. So real fast, the news, comicbook.com, David Mazouz promises that the new eps of Gotham coming up after the break will be the worst yet. Darkest yet, thanks to Jerome. And so your version of worst may vary, but apparently things get dark. And Bruce is going to get even more involved in the vigilante life.
Wow. Okay. Even more involved.
Yep.
So might be something more than a mask. We'll see.
Maybe a utility belt?
Maybe. Cool. All right. What else we got here?
That's it for Gotham. You want to get to Arrow?
Yeah. All right. So jumping right into Arrow, mid-season 6 finale. Irreconcilable differences. There we go. Oliver and Felicity had a wonderful wedding reception. Oliver learned someone on the team planned to testify against him and asked Felicity to surveil Dinah, Curtis, and Renee. Black Siren kidnapped Quentin, and Caden James held him hostage, forcing Oliver to steal tech from Argus. Last minute reveal, after Renee, Dinah, and Curtis all left Team Arrow for different reasons, Caden James and Black Siren reveled in watching Ollie squirm from a secret camera, and we learned they are all working in league with Anatoly, Vigilante, and Richard Dragon.
That was an impressive lineup of villains. I was surprised as they just kept stepping into the scene. How about you?
It was, that was great. It was like, if 10 more seconds, we would have had all of them laughing in
like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. They'd all just be.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. Yeah. It was right on the verge, but it didn't go there.
There's not that much laughter on Arrow, let's be honest. Like, it's not a show given to levity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. When you're two funny guys on the team, the guy who's battling to get custody of his daughter, and the guy who's really missing his divorce, who's the divorcee, who is still missing his husband, his ex-husband now. Yeah. A lot of wanting for humor there. But yeah, and this is another one had a wonderful party, lots of little intricate storylines going in there. Is there a thing between Thea and Renee kind of like coming up? Did I sense that?
Maybe there was, but I feel like if he's testifying against her brother, no. I don't know. Thea's a queen. She's loyal to Oliver, but there was some indication of something there. Although she's been in a coma, so I'm not quite sure how that works. But
yeah. And who do you think was that person that she was distracted and was kind of hoping would show up?
That's what I wasn't sure. I didn't pick up on any Renee vibes from that.
Okay.
But I couldn't think of who else it would be. Who else have we met who she would be wishing?
What are you kidding me? I was joking. That's Roy Harper.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, she misses Roy.
Wait. But have we heard his name at all this season?
No, we have not.
Or is this just okay? Well, so though it would indicate though that she had been in contact with him, and that it would make sense if she was in a coma and she woke up, she'd reach out to Roy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, also, kind of like he took the flack for Oliver the first time and had a
that's true.
Like maybe he might come back for if he found out Oliver and Felicity got married, like maybe he'll show up. Maybe he's like hanging up in the balcony somewhere.
Because we are getting Colton Haynes is coming back to the show at some point, isn't he?
I think he's like hinted at it in social media, but I don't think we've got an official story that he's back.
I mean, we haven't talked about it on this show, but it seems like something that I've something in the ether that I've picked up on.
I mean, there's always the threat of any character who hasn't been on the show in a while coming back.
Threat. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Rory to come back. Bring us Ragman. Bring us that creepy superhero.
Yeah. Well,
he's not nightmare fuel.
No. I mean, Ragman's great, but he's wrong for this show. Like,
what show would he fit on?
Like, if Legends is going in a magic direction, like Ragman, I think would fit
sure.
There. Like Ragman belongs in like a Justice League Dark. Like he belongs like somewhere. Yeah. I mean, it's just he's maybe there isn't a fit for him, but I don't think he was a good fit for Arrow. Just also because you could tell that they weren't using him because his the effects for that character were too expensive.
Yeah.
And just they couldn't figure out a way to make it work in the story.
Yeah, they adding all those new members, I think last season was a mistake. It just kind of spun out of control, and they didn't know what to do with everybody. Speaking of shows with too big of casts, it was just too many. Anyway, I will say, Oliver and Felicity, Oliver watching her walk in, and there were a lot of looks. There were a lot of beautiful, loving, amazing looks. Olicity forever. That was I think everything any shipper could have ever wanted. So that was nice. And the bride on the cake had glasses.
Aww.
The wedding topper, the cake topper. So yeah. I did like Curtis, long arm, tall Curtis, snatching the bouquet from Felicity's mom when she tossed it. That was a fun little bit of physical whatever. But I felt like, was it John who delivered the bad news at the reception? Was it John or was it whoever it was who was like, Oliver, listen, I have some bad news.
Oh, it was Quentin.
Give him a half an hour to finish that wedding reception before telling him half an hour is not going to make a difference. Let him cut the cake, let him kiss everybody goodbye, and then be like, listen, you need to sit down. But that was just bad timing.
Yeah. But you see, like the show couldn't wait a half an hour, so they
fine.
But yeah, and I think I don't understand. I mean, they put Renee in a horrible position, and you understand why you're pissed, but can you really blame Renee?
I mean, I don't know why he didn't say to Oliver, listen, they're leaning on me. You know how important my kid is to me. I have to do this. I suppose they had provisions in place that wouldn't let him do it. But yeah, I agree that is the only possible motivation that seems acceptable to me for him to turn on Oliver like that would be his kid.
Yeah, and it's also that is, you know, I do remember commenting a couple of weeks ago that was the one interview with Agent Watson that we didn't see was Renee. He mentioned getting a call, you know, but we never saw that interrogation. So now we know why. Yeah, and cool, and seeing Vigilante out of the costume, I didn't really dig it.
Yeah, I'm still not quite as connected to that storyline as maybe they want us to be. I just don't care as much about Dinah and Vigilante, and I don't even know his name. I assume he's got one. I'm not doing him the courtesy of learning it, so.
Okay. His name's Vincent Sobel.
Well, show off your knowledge, why don't you?
I'm reading the IMDb.
Okay, I was gonna say, is he a comic fella, or is that just...
No. I mean, Vigilante. That, you know, he's a comic book character. But yeah, no. I mean, we had some interesting. We had a clearinghouse, which is really only meaningful if they don't get back together within the next 3 episodes. Which something tells me they will.
And you know, they had teased this, that there was going to be a big rift between old and new Team Arrow. And, you know, I guess surveillance, that would probably do it. I could see that. It wasn't built up quite as well. I just all kind of came out of nowhere. But, you know, the timing was going to be weird because they just had the crossover. So you couldn't spend as much time building up to this, I guess, as maybe I would have liked. But it's a thing that happened.
All right. And what else? Oh, what was I going to say with Curtis? No. Okay. With Curtis, like you can't go halfway. You can't quit Team Arrow but still be on for Helix.
Yeah, agreed. That's going to be way too awkward. And especially, you know, Felicity's so tied up with, I mean, not just Team Arrow, but Oliver. She's his wife now. And that's I don't know. I agree. I think there's just no way that you can maintain any kind of working relationship.
Yeah.
I honestly thought Curtis would stick around. I figured he'd be the one, because he's always sort of worked with Felicity and John and Oliver, I think, a little bit more than the others. So that surprised me. I really thought Curtis would be their guy, but apparently not.
Yeah, I think he needs a vacation. You know, he needs he needs like a week on the beach. Just send him to Cabo. He'll figure it out.
Don't we all though?
Yeah. You know, although sometimes you need a week in Alaska. You need to just, you know, be huddled together in a cabin or something. Or just fishing.
Just fishing.
I don't know. I'm spouting nonsense. But yeah, you were going to talk about Black Siren.
Oh yeah, we saw the seeds of her redemption arc, did we not?
Now she's probably just going to say that she let Quentin go, kind of as payback for Dinah. For Dinah and Quentin, you know, letting, you know, not killing her on Lian Yu. Yeah, I don't know. They did have that connection. You know, we found out it's all about birthday cakes.
I was going to say, you know, I would probably bond with just about anybody over birthday cake. So that seemed pretty solid, actually.
Yeah. Cool. And Caden James was fun as always.
As always. Yeah. He has been a great addition to the show. I like the brainy menace he brings.
Cool. And yeah, we got all those villains together. We got a super team coming on, and now it's just Oliver, you know, who doesn't want to be there anymore. Diggle, who's like, you know, kind of, you know, almost paralyzed and shouldn't be fighting anybody. and Felicity, who is an incredible hacker, but doesn't really do much physically. So this is going to be quite a challenge coming up. And the indictment, the trial. Oh, we're going to have 2 trials going this next half season. We've got Barry on trial for murder, and we're going to have Oliver on trial for being a vigilante. So
yeah, that was one of when I talked about the parallels between the shows, I thought those 2 were interesting. And then when you've got Rain on Supergirl and who was the other one that I was Killer Frost, where both of them have these alter egos that they're not aware of, and one is kind of good and one is kind of evil, and I thought that was kind of similar thematically across the DC TV verse.
Cool. All right. Anything else? We ready for news?
Yeah, quickly. We have a couple of trailers that were released for a couple of shows that are coming up. Sci-Fi's released a 20-second trailer for their upcoming show, Krypton. 20 seconds doesn't tell you much, but it does give you British accent and Superman's cape.
Yep. We see it flying in
Those
the wind.
were the highlights for me.
Yeah, I doubt we probably won't see it at all in the show. But yeah. I mean, this is interesting. Yeah, I think I mentioned I got a little sneak peek into some of the sides that actors were using for auditions, because I had a friend who auditioned for one of the leads. This is a deep dive. Like, this is a dig show. This is one of those like, hey, stay with me. But if you stick around for the ride, this could be really cool. Like I'm really excited that Sci-Fi is taking this on, and because there's a lot of room for them to run in this, and this is not going to be a superhero show. This is going to be a sci-fi show. And yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, cool. And what was the other trailer that showed up?
Black Lightning. We've seen trailers for that before. I guess trailer singular. This one's more of an origin of kind of who was Black Lightning before, and the catchphrase seems to be Black Lightning is back. So you get a sense that this is an established superhero who stepped away for whatever reason, and something has drawn him back into the superhero business, which I think is cool. I think it's nice to have that different take in the CW universe. A lot of the heroes are starting out, Oliver, how did he become the Green Arrow? The Flash, how is he learning his powers? But this is a guy who seems settled into his power and was willing to retire, and then just when he thinks he's out, they pull him back in.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree, and that sounds exciting.
Yeah. Titans. We have our first look at Robin, described as kind of a Tim Drake feel.
Oh yeah.
And that answered some questions about what kind of Robin we'd see. And here's where I just turn it over and let Ed talk for as long as he wants about this.
Oh, so this is, yeah. I mean, this is, he looks younger. Like, he looks like he might, I mean, he's not quite a teenager, but he's almost a teenager. Which is the one thing with the Chris O'Donnell Robin was like, okay, this guy is like 35. What is he doing in a Robin costume? Like, I remember there's one line in Batman Forever where he calls Dick Grayson a college student. Like, what was he? Would he like get his GED at like 28? But I love this look. I think it definitely tells you the style that this is going to go for. We don't care about being grounded or any of those stupid things. Like, this is going to be superhero fun.
It looked like he's got kind of the stylized R and the black and yellow cape, right?
Yeah. This looks just like the Robin action figure I had from the Batman Returns set in the early 90s. Just with a darker.
Genuine question: Are they making this show for you? Do you think?
Maybe.
That's really nice of them.
Yes. It also, there are quite a number of DC Comics fan films out there. I have worked on a few. This is, it's weird to say like this harkens back to a fan film, but in the way that it looks like the comics, but it still looks really cool and genuine. Like this, it's just like, oh, we're gonna get a real Robin on screen. And maybe he'll turn into Nightwing.
Chris O'Donnell says, "Excuse me." I guess he's movies. isn't he? Sorry.
Does he? Chris O'Donnell reacted to that just now? What is he in the room?
Yeah, somewhere he's like, someone just made fun of the past Robins. I will not stand for this.
You ever hear that fake casting news from Batman and Robin? Like from Batman Returns, like evidently Tim Burton was thinking about casting Robin. And I think the front runner was Marlon Wayans.
Oh, interesting.
That would have been very different.
Yes. Huh.
And I think at a certain point, it just the script got too complicated, and I think Michael Keaton said no. But yeah, if that's what Tim Drake looks like, you know, and I mean, if we're getting like Starfire or if we're getting Raven in this, yeah, this is gonna be interesting. We're getting Beast Boy on this show. Cool. Like I'm ready. I want a trailer now. Just give me, now I'm hungry.
They have to be getting closer to it because they've had so much casting news, and now you've got the Robin in costume and things like that. So yeah. I'm hoping.
All right. Last
bit of news. This is not news so much as really fun speculation, but CBR.com is reporting that John Cena of WWE, sorry.
Yes.
That shows my age. Has been putting Watchmen images on his Instagram. Music. Things like the smiley face pin, the Dr. Manhattan logo. And apparently if you follow his Insta feed, he often posts random images that after, a couple of weeks, you put it all together. It's like, oh, that's the story he was telling. And it makes sense in hindsight. So the article suggests that maybe he's putting up Watchmen images to tease that he is in talks for, has been cast as somebody in HBO's commissioned but not yet finalized adaptation of Watchmen. The article suggests that he could play Dr. Manhattan, possibly, or Ozymandias, or Captain Metropolis, who is one of the old-timey heroes. Those three ideas are terrible. Obviously, it's the comedian, if he's anything. Your thoughts?
I think he's spear thrower number 17. I know there.
Yeah, he's not the easiest fit into a project like this.
Yeah, like I want him like in the background for like one scene in episode 4. I like John Cena. I'd love to see him in a comic book movie. I'd love to see him playing a superhero. Not sure Watchmen is the best fit, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, this was like,
but it's fun to think about.
Yeah. This reminds me a lot of like Vin Diesel was doing a lot of the same stuff when he was meeting for Marvel, and evidently like he wanted to play Black Bolt in the Inhumans movie, and then getting cast as Groot.
Congratulations to him. That was probably the better option.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it turned out that way. Oh, most definitely. He made the right choice.
But honestly, the suggestion that John Cena might be Ozymandias,
no, it's not gonna happen. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be fun.
Thank you. But kind of a fun story.
Yeah, that was cool. I think it's time for Winners of the Week.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah, so a lot of different things. I mean, it's mid-season. We had a bunch of mid-season finales, so you had all these big reveals, and the bad guys were big winners this week. But to me, I'm going to say Betrayal. We had a lot of really interesting betrayals that showed up. But my favorite, pointing out, had to be Zaz turning on Oswald. Because that was the one thing that made, like, you would never thought it would happen, but the second it did, it made so much sense. And that character just keeps surprising you. And I so that's my winner for the week, and I'm proud of it.
Honestly, my winner for the week is the man who experienced joy, harmony, warmth, and hot chocolate. And that is Bryn John, who had the best holiday season of anybody this week that we saw.
Yes. Yeah. And it makes you almost angry that he was on screen for about 45 seconds.
It does. And at the same time, it kind of makes you angry that when's the last time you looked at a Christmas ornament on a tree with wonder in your eyes? Like he had that. It was pure. It was unadulterated. He's happy. He's with his son. He's experiencing the joys of the season. He hasn't seen the Star Wars Christmas special. It's a good place. So he won the week for me.
Yes. All right, cool. So those are your winners for the week.
Yes, sir.
That means that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare, TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaranetZley.
Okay, and also be sure to follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice, and check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!